How's it going, everybody? This is Brent Swanson from Midwest Muscle Report here with Matt Kouba, fresh off his placing at the USA's, and then before that, placing third at Junior Nationals. How we doing, Matt?
Doing good.
Good. Well, you're coming fresh off of the honeymoon, fresh off of the third place victory at the USA, so you're on top of the world right now.
Yeah, it was definitely an eventful couple of weeks there. It was pretty much bang bang with the show, and then me and my then fiance Jessica, we were home for about 48 hours, and then we were on a plane to Mexico to get married, and we spent like 10 days there. So it was a much needed vacation and had a great time. So
well, awesome. Congratulations, bro. And coming from, we're friends, we talk a lot, and coming from, third place at Junior Nationals in your weight class, obviously to most people, they would kind of be happy with that. And I know in a way you're happy with that, but I knew in my heart, and I think you knew too, that you're better than that. So kind of talk to us about, that placing, and then just kind of your mindset going from Junior Nationals, then having 6 weeks to really nail, in my estimation, your best package yet to date at the USA's.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, at Junior Nationals the year before, I had placed second in my weight class. So, coming in this year, the goal was to at least win my weight class at Junior Nationals, and then hopefully, go on and compete for the overall there. So third place, it was a bit of a disappointment, and I was also, not completely happy with the look that I brought to the stage. I felt like my conditioning could have been better, and that's what I was told. And so over the next 6 weeks, it was like, all right, we're going for broke here on conditioning, and we're going to make sure that we nail it 100%. So it's not like we did anything crazy. It's not like my conditioning was way off for Junior Nationals. I think I looked good going into Junior Nationals a couple days out. Some of the manipulations that we did with water and whatnot didn't really benefit my physique that much. A lot of times I have a hard time really nailing it on the day of the show, especially in the morning. Everybody's body's different, and your body is always different from one show to the next. That's why I almost hate when people say, like, oh, I know my body. And it's like, well, you know what happened to your body last time you competed, but do you necessarily know exactly what's going to happen to your body this time?
Exactly.
It's so unpredictable.
And your body's so smart, like your body, like it's like, I feel like your body knows. It's like, okay, you play this trick one time, I'm not going to react, maybe not necessarily the same way you think I'm going to react this time.
Exactly, and if you're holding more muscle, or if you're a little bit leaner, body fat wise, or you've been dieting longer, or you're more depleted or less depleted, obviously your body's going to react different to however you load it, or however you deplete it, or what you do with water and whatnot. So on the day of the show for juniors, I just felt a little bit off. I felt like I was flat, and a lot of times when I'm flat, that kind of gives that appearance of being softer looking. So when my muscles aren't like full, then I look softer. So it looked like I was retaining some water. So we kind of regrouped, and leading into juniors, we were doing a lot more like refeeds, more frequently, because I was lean, and my body was every time we would do a refeed, like my body weight was lower the next day. So my body was just burning through everything. But in between juniors and USA's, we actually increased like my daily caloric intake, and my cardio stayed about the same. We were doing mostly high intensity cardio. I would do like 3 minutes of really hard, and then 2 minutes of moderate. So like, for example, for me on the Stairmaster, I was going up to about 115 steps per minute for 3 minutes, and then I would go to like 75 steps a minute for 2 minutes. So that's what I had worked up to over a period of time, and that was pretty tough for me. I mean, 255, 260 pounds, almost running up those stairs. It was some cardio, but I feel like the higher intensity cardio this year allowed me to diet on more carbs than I have in the past.
Now, really quick before you go on too, how long, just so everybody knows, how long were you doing the 3 minutes on, 2 minutes slow for? Like how many minutes were you doing?
Chris, I work with Chris Aceto, and he never really has like an exact template. So as much of a planner as I am, and I know a lot of bodybuilders, they want to have like a set plan. A lot of times it was really just check in with him and see what he says. I mean, I think we went up to a maximum of like 30 minutes when we would do that.
Mm-hmm.
But once I was in really good shape, the last couple weeks before USA's, we were doing 15 minutes of that in the morning, and then I would do like 20 minutes of moderate intensity post workout.
Right.
So it just kind of varied. I think we went through a stage where we were doing like 30 minutes. Like, I think the most cardio I did was 30 minutes of that high intensity cardio, and then maybe 30 or 40 minutes of moderate intensity post workout.
Right.
But actually, leading into USA's, it was much less than that. So, we kind of tapered it back.
Yeah. Well, no, that's great, man. That's really great. Now, I know, in being friends with you and talking to you, I can remember, and maybe just give people a little bit of insight, because a lot of people, when they think, oh, Matt looked more conditioned at show B than show A or whatever, they'll think that, he must have decreased his calories, which in your case, I mean, some competitors do, but in your case, in saying that you increased them, I remember us texting back and forth, and you showed me a picture of, like, when you really, like, depleted a lot of calories, and you looked not the best, and then you showed me a picture from a few days later when you increase the calories and increase like the protein and the carbs and how much fuller and better that you looked. So what can you give us into, how you kind of know, when to increase and then when to decrease, and why do you think that your body responds that way?
I wish I had a real good answer. I mean, I think when you're working with a coach, like I'm working with Chris Aceto, who I highly respect and trust 100%, you don't really question what he says. You just gotta, anytime you're working with a coach, there's a reason why they're saying what they're saying. And so,
right.
I get much feedback as I can. And like I said, he's always seeing pictures of me. So he was seeing me on a, day-to-day basis or every other day basis. And so I just really trusted the process. And, when I would get depleted like that, and then we fed me, my body seemed to respond better. I think that some people, a lot of people will say that they're flat, like all the time, like, oh, I'm flat. And it's like, you're going to go through periods of being flat. You need to do that to get in really good shape.
Right.
But you don't want to be too flat for too long, because then you can lose muscle, and being flat or, being overly depleted, I just think, especially for us bigger guys, I think you have to be careful with that. And that's another one of the reasons why I wanted to work with Chris, was because I know he's had a lot of experience with bigger guys, whereas opposed to, obviously, the large majority of competitors are either heavyweights or lighter. There's not a whole lot of very good super heavyweight amateur guys out there. So Chris has had a lot of experience with bigger guys, and so I think he gets that, and he knows how to work with those guys. And, as my, at the end of the prep, your metabolism was going crazy. Like I said, telling you before, I was off my diet for 10 days on vacation, eating pretty much whatever I wanted besides a couple protein shakes mixed in there. But by the end of it, I was still super lean. I was only like 4 or 5 pounds over my weigh-in weight for USA's. So it's like my body was just burning through everything.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're at that point, I feel like, as well. Like, I know with me, like, when I eat a meal and I just start sweating, like, profusely with every meal, like, my metabolism's, like, through the roof. You know what I mean? That's when I know I'm getting close and I'm really lean, is that, like, I eat my meal, and number one is I'm starving afterwards still. But number two is, like, I'm just, like, starting to pour with sweat, so.
Yeah, even when you have, like, a more substantial meal, it's like, shit. You should be. That's the thing. Like, some days we would throw in a higher calorie day or whatever. You would bump my carbs, and it's like, some people would think like, oh, you must have been satisfied that day. And it's like, no, to be honest with you, like the next day, 2-3 days, I was like miserable hungry, because, your metabolism's like, oh, okay, we get these extra calories. And then you go back to your regular diet, and it's like, fuck. Good.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Now let's kind of transition a little bit. As me and you've talked earlier, you're going to take the rest of the year off and make some improvements that you feel like you need to make. Obviously, people who have followed you, people who know you, you're a taller super heavyweight. And the thing is you look different than most, which I think is a good thing, just because you still have great symmetry. You have a tiny, tiny waist. You have really good full muscle bellies. So, and that's kind of playing to your strengths. But what are you wanting to bring next year to the stage to make the judges be like, okay, this guy was close last year, like he's ready to go pro now?
I think my delts have always been somewhat of an area of concern especially from the front, getting her side delts. But I've always kind of put them at the forefront of my training. But I also think just overall thickness in my back. Like you said, I have pretty good balance, and when I get conditioned, I have pretty good detail everywhere. You could see everything, but I think just overall, and then also I was telling you that I was doing a lot of the high intensity cardio. I think that somewhat, that's what helped get me in the shape that I was in. But I do think that it made me lose some size in my legs. Maybe it affected my leg training. I feel like, obviously my legs were super conditioned, but I need to bring in some fuller quads, so more quad sweep and just overall size in the legs. I lift pretty basic, but just super intense and pretty heavy. I do, some higher reps, but a higher rep set for me is maybe 12, going maybe to 15 here and there. But for the most part, I lift hard and heavy in that 6 to 10 rep range. And I feel like that's what's given me, the look to my muscles that I have.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. Now something that I'm curious about, I know other people are probably as well too. Like I said, being a super heavyweight, you don't have a distended gut. Your waist is super, super small. Did you ever do, when you were getting ready for your show, did you ever do like waist measurements to see actually how small that it got, on stage day or right around there?
No, I did years ago, but in the last few years, I really don't take measurements. It's funny. I always joke with my friend and workout partner, Mark Schulman.
Yeah.
I'm like, I swear my waist is like 28 inches, bro. And he's, dude, you're 28 inches. That's like a girl's waist. But I don't know. My waist, it's got to get down. It probably goes from like 35 in the off season. It's got to get down to, I would say, at least 30.
Yeah, for sure.
The way that my clothes fit, and but I don't know exactly off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's just a curious question that I have, and I'm sure that the other super heavyweights around you have, because that's one thing that I think that I notice when you step on stage. Obviously your conditioning and everything, but your small waist really gives your proportions, just that extra flair. So yeah,
for sure. Yeah, but I don't do any like specific waist training. I train my abs year round. I train them hard twice a week. Most other muscle groups I train once a week year round. But I train my abs like consistently. That's one thing. I guess it's a good problem to have. Like my abs are like always there, even when I get up to like 270. My abs will be there. I gain more of my weight in my from the back. So like my lower back, my glutes, hamstrings, those things take a while for them to get in shape. But I always have like pretty decent abs year round, even when I'm a little softer in other areas. So
right. Awesome. Well, hey, buddy. Well, we just wanted to get a little snapshot of your prep. Obviously, you killed it this year, and you, along with other people in the Midwest, man, I think that we're really, as like a territory, starting to make a name for ourselves. And the West Coast has their thing, and the East Coast has their thing too. But there's a lot of good quality people coming up, and you're definitely one of them. So we appreciate the time that you took to talk to us, and we'll definitely be in contact with you through your off season, and look forward to seeing you on stage next year.
Absolutely, yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. Training's going good now, and it feels nice to be training with a little bit more calories in your system. So yeah, workouts are going good. I'm looking forward to bringing a better package next year.
Awesome. Well, Matt, thanks so much for talking with us. This is Brent Swanson from Midwest Muscle Report, here with Matt Kouba, third place Junior Nationals and third place of the Junior USAs.
Thanks, man.